Good evening and welcome to a one-man B&C, also known as the J Show. Hope you're all good after that bloody game. I'm not sure how everyone else is feeling, but I'm losing the will to live at the moment after seeing some of the results. But anyway, let's roll the intro.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
How are you all doing? How are we feeling? Sol says, please can this not be another Suicide Watch match review? Listen, I can't promise hope, mate. I'm not gonna go too negative. Do you know what? To be honest, the match itself isn't what's put me on Suicide Watch, mate. It's the results elsewhere, to be honest with you. What a weekend from hell for Leeds United. Everything that went wrong, nothing went our way. What can you do? It's just how it's going to go. It's up to us to try and get what we can now out of these remaining games. We've got to hope for the best. Got to hope that Everton don't keep beating top teams that are going to play like Brazil when they play us, but they seem to not be arsed when they play anybody else. So, good evening to Michael Brown. Good evening to Alison and Marty Adams. How are you doing? Listen, I'm just going to wing this because it's difficult to do this when you're on your own, talking to yourself. I do enough of that most of the time. Start of that game, I'll tell you what, the crowd were awesome and they stayed like that all the way through. The game itself actually wasn't a bad game. I didn't think it were a 4-0 game, not the way it sort of played out. And early on, that Rodrigo break where he ran and he didn't pass to Rafinha until he got right into the box and got tangled up, and I just couldn't believe it. It would have been a different game. I said to the guy next to me, I said that would have absolutely changed this, But as I say, I don't think we played terrible. It were probably the best performance of the last few games. We were actually passing to each other. We weren't just booting the ball straight all over the place for a change. We looked like we knew each other and we'd met each other before, which I can't say about the last couple of matches when they were just sort of booting 10-yard balls to random people and kicking it out and that kind of shit. It's driven me up the wall, and I don't mind seeing us get beat if we're playing as hearts out and there's passion and there's some effort, But seeing people just pass stray balls constantly is so hard to watch and to get behind. I agree with you there, Alison. The crowd raced like all the way through. The crowd sang all the way. City fans were rubbish. They barely sang a thing. They only seemed to wake up when there were a goal. And it's like they woke up for 2 minutes or something, went back to sleep again, waited for the next goal. Must be terrible winning all the time, Could never be like City. Never. Not a chance. And somebody else said that to me. I can't remember who it was now. It might have been my mate Dave who comes with me. But I said to him, we never would become City. No matter sort of how much money or whatever happens and how many prima donnas we get, we would never be like that. We'll always be Leeds. We'll always sing us hearts out. We'll always get behind the team. It's just the way we are. You're not going to find us with tickets on general sale for a Champions League semi-final, are you? That's all I'm going to say about that. City are buying titles, yeah, they are. I mean, you can't knock them. If you've got the money, you're going to buy the players, aren't you? You're going to have the best players in the world. It's just the way it is. We won't complain about buying good players. We'd be really pleased. It's just all feels a little bit soulless, doesn't it? I think you've got to have some homegrown stars and some long-established players in there, mixed in with some of the superstar players. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel like your club anymore for me. But having said that, I'm not gonna lie. I'd enjoy watching that football, but we got close at times with Bielsa. I'm not gonna comment on the current football, but yeah. Just reading Mark's comment. It's 5-2-3, 3-4-3 system is suited us. Should play that going forward. Yeah, we might do that. I mean, if you can go out and play decent against City like that, then I think you got to take the positives out of that game and try and repeat as much of that as you can, other than letting the goals in. But yeah, I mean, we've said it a couple of times already. It did not feel like a 4-0 game. I think you just reach a point, don't you, where it's hopeless and you kind of lose heart a little at the end. But they played well for me. I don't think there was anyone outstanding. I don't think anyone really excelled, but everyone were quite solid. And, you know, that's least you can ask against City, isn't it? They were solid. They looked good. We were passing to each other. There was some decent movement for a change. Probably still not quite good enough, but the effort were there. You could see the lads were trying. They've obviously taken on board what they've been told in training. Something's getting through to them, you know. And we've seen Rodrigo play loads better recently. Players do respond to Jesse. You can't argue with that, really, on what's gone on. We're all still missing the fancy football, but he's been getting points, and nobody expected anything yesterday, so can't really knock him for that. It's Jonathan saying, imagine our fans with City's money. Oof, yeah, I know, exactly. We'll never be like City as a fan base. That's what I was trying to say. As much money as we may end up with, we're always going to be Leeds. We're always going to have that support. As long as they don't put us into a soulless bowl of a stadium, we're all good. Firpo's my big worry at the back. Another yellow card in the first few minutes. The guy next to me said, I'm surprised he's not been booked yet. That were about 30 seconds into the match. So, yeah, his reputation precedes him there, I think. Everyone's just expecting that from him now every time he gets on the pitch. It's good to see him back, though. We need players back. We need to see people sort of get game time. And good that Jesse trusts him to throw him in there for 90 minutes against City. You know, can't really knock that. He must be doing something right in training. Either that or he just doesn't feel anyone else can play any better there. I enjoyed the paper that they put on the seats for us, the spelling out the Yorkshire word. Somebody next to me was like, "Oh, what were they thinking doing this? What were they thinking when everyone's pelting the pitch and stuff?" And Grealish got absolutely hammered when he came to take a corner, which was funny. But he took it in good spirits, to be fair to him. Kind of expected him to go down and clutch his face, but yeah, you know, maybe he's grown. I didn't think Firpo was too bad. No, I thought he was all right. Like I say, everyone was solid. I don't think anyone really excelled, but everyone was solid. Did all right. It was City. We didn't expect sort of anything out of the game, so you know, it's a really hard game to talk about because I'm gutted about the situation with the points and not getting any, and everybody else getting points, and Everton pulling another win out of the bag. And it just felt like a crappy weekend overall. But the positives were there. We just have to hope that we can apply ourselves like we did against City in the next few games. And who knows, maybe something will come our way. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I was quite surprised that Dan James didn't start as well, because he's been starting him in every other game. And this was the game where I thought, if ever you need a player that can get you on a break, then this is the game for him. But maybe he just decided he wanted somebody who could finish. But, you know, what can you do? I thought his pace would have been our best weapon against them. And it looked a lot like we were trying not to get stretched at times as well. There were a fair few sort of through balls that were played and didn't go anywhere. Probably not quite enough movement at times, but it definitely looked like we were trying to sort of keep us shape a lot more than we have recently, and not get stretched by City and torn apart. And again, the scoreline doesn't really reflect the performance for me, and I didn't think we got torn apart, really. There were times, obviously, when the quality shows, but we gave a good account of ourselves. Let's have a look. Got to play Joffrey instead of James as more of an eye for goal than James. Yeah, that's true. And again, we said it before on the main pod and stuff. You want to be playing a striker, not a winger. I mean, the pace and the pressing is what gets James in there. But for me, I've said it before, I want to see a striker play there because we often seem to come out of the blocks a bit at the start of games and we get a few chances. And if we don't take them, we end up getting punished. And when you've not got a striker there and you're bringing the guy on 70th minute when energy's starting to get lower, we're not getting as many chances. I don't think that's the right move, personally, but I'm not the guy in charge, so I can't do anything about that. Let's have a look at some more comments over here. Alison, Jay had a nightmare and he missed the game. Trains cancelled, delays just mid kick-off, bloody hell. They don't make it easy for us, do they? Get into these matches. It's especially away games when you're going down to sort of London for a Sunday evening or something like that and you can't get back, or when they used to send us to Brighton on a Tuesday night in Football League and you're stranded if you're not driving. It's crackers. I'll never understand that. And how many times we've been to London has been a tube strike. So I'm going to Arsenal next week, so I got a ticket for that one. I'm just really hoping that we get something out of that game, but I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of Arsenal. They're another team where you don't know which Arsenal's going to turn up. They're either going to rip us to shreds or they're going to be shit, and hopefully the latter. Let's have a look. A few more comments. Here we go. Michael Brown, City of light years ahead of Leeds, just got the bench compared to ours. Yeah, exactly. I've seen a lot of people saying about the 5 subs next season. I think that's going to benefit Leeds because we can play more of the youth. But to me, it's benefiting teams like City, teams like Chelsea with big squads with superstars that can bring on. It's all well and good saying, oh yeah, we can put more kids on bench, but you need players to change games, and the big clubs are going to do that to us. We're not going to be able to respond unless we get some significant investment, and that's if we even stay up at this rate. It's not looking amazing. I'm just going to bring up the old table. I can have a quick look at that and put ourselves through some more hell. So that's the bottom of the league at the moment. Well, that was during the Brentford game, I think. But it's not looking great. 34 games played. Everton on 33. Goal difference is killing us. I'm really hoping Leicester can do something for us and pull something out of the bag against Everton, because they've got to be stopped before they get on a Burnley-esque run. I who would ever have thought we'd be saying that, eh? Let's hope Chelsea put in the same lacklustre performance against Leeds as they did against Everton. Mate, you know full well that what's going to happen is Chelsea are going to turn up playing like prime Brazil. They're going to smash us off the park, and we're all going to be stood there looking at each other going, where's the Chelsea from last week? Why have they saved this for us? It seems to be the same every time. Every time we play anyone that our relegation rivals have played, we seem to get absolutely turned over while they're busting out results and getting shockers for all to see. We're just falling to bits. Typical Leeds. Let's have a look at what else has been said. Brendan's Ghost, evening, mate. It's not much of an all, other than the guys in the comments. It's just me on the pod today. You lucky bastards. So, I mean, I'm struggling to ramble a bit here. I looked at the stats earlier. Possession was 40-60 to them, which I also thought were pretty good. To have managed to get 40% of the ball against City, that's no mean feat, to be fair. You see other teams turning out with sort of 30%, 35% if they're lucky. We did all right. We actually did all right. A lot of positives there. Everything, was pretty positive besides the score until what happened to poor Stuart Dallas. Just want to sort of send our best wishes out to him as well, because that were a nasty injury. I've forgotten what it was called now. Was it a femoral fracture? Can't remember what they said, but it looks like he's going to be out for 6 months now. So another one bites the dust. Rob Price is getting his hands dirty again. We're going to have to invest this summer, regardless of where we end up. Either way, we're going to have to replace half a team for me. And that is going to be the case regardless which division we're in. So Rads is going to have to get his hand in his pocket and get spending, I think. Stuart not in a good way, at least Feb before he's back. Yeah, I know. That's it. I was just reading earlier today. It said they reckon he's out for about 6 months. It's crap, that. And he's been such a loyal servant to us as well, So just can't believe that's happened to him after all this time. I thought he was going to set a record like that guy in La Liga, Iñaki Williams, with his 226 consecutive appearances. I thought Stuart would do that for us one day. Let's Let's have a look at the comments. Bremner's Ghost. Still think we'll get 40 to 42 points, so that's enough. Why is it every time we get players back for injury, another gets broken? That's it. It's as if we're stuck in like a like-for-like injury per available player business at the moment. You can't have one back without losing another. It's just it's horrific. It's a bloody nightmare. We just got everybody back, and 2 long-term injuries for Forshaw and Dallas. Again, something that could have been covered if we'd invested in January, but we all know that story. I think Allison's agreeing with me here. That's the issue. We haven't strengthened in 3 windows. Exactly. Not bought a midfielder for 8. Not strengthened in 3. I know that they spent a lot of money the season before. They're still most likely paying installments for that, but there's no way you can get into this league and just sit still. You just can't. Otherwise, you end up like a Norwich or you end up like a Burnley, although they seem to be doing all right now, so it's maybe not a great example, but I'm sure you guys know what I mean. You've got to keep investing. You've got to keep moving forward. Otherwise, you go backwards very fast and you go down. And we're staring down the barrel at the moment, unfortunately. Brendan's Ghost. Dallas was the cover for any position. Yeah, that's it. Probably even going goal if you asked him to. Michael Brown. Everton beat Chelsea with only 17% possession. Bloody hell. I didn't realise it was quite that. They were quite a bit apart of the bus. Leeds can't play that way. The team has been schooled to Bielsa style. Well, we'll see. I mean, Jesse's been working with them a good while now, and we definitely looked like we had more of a Jesse Marsh identity to us yesterday, I thought. So we'll see what happens going forward. He's working with the lads. They're obviously improving. He's getting the effort out of them. If they could just take the good stuff from Saturday into the next game and the rest of the season, we might get something. We might just pull this shit off. And I'll tell you something, I'll be buying some champagne if we do, because I don't think I'll ever have been so relieved in my entire life. Well, other than when I escaped to Crazy X, but that's a different story. Alison, Marty Adams overhaul needed even if we stay up. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Alison. I think whichever league we're in, we're going to need to replace people. And I think if the worst happened and we did go down, I reckon that we need to take on a kind of a youth-based policy. Not youth as in under 23 players, because we've got enough of that, but I mean players who are sort of maybe 24, 25, 26, sort of focus around that area. And then hopefully if we have players who do step up, who are good enough and we come back, should that happen, they can stay in the team for a few more years rather than getting a season out of them and then sort of all hitting 30, 31 and people sort of starting to slow down a bit and drop off a little performance-wise, you know. I think that that's something that we need to do. And then we can keep those guys together for years if we get the right people. Alison, Marty, we will lose a lot. Raf, KP, Melia, JH. Yeah, most likely. We're not going to keep the majority of those players. And we're going to end up stuck if we don't get some decent young players in. Bremen's Ghost, we've made do with the youth policy for years. Yeah, but I think you mean like under 23s, which I was saying that's not what I mean. I just mean players who can sort of get into the team a few years and keep increasing performance and skill and that kind of thing rather than getting to sort of 31, 32, dropping off and then needing replaced like a bunch of them all at the same time. That's what's happening now. So what's Michael Brown saying? Burnley invested in strikers in Beghorst and Cornet. Bamford injured. There's no backup strikers except Joffe. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, Greenwood's a striker as well, so they say. I like him better in that 10 role, I think. But apparently he's also a striker. And I think it was Phil Hay said he's a more natural striker than Joffe, which I found an odd comment. But yeah, I mean, if we're not going to play the strikers, then it doesn't really matter whether there's backup for Bamford or not. There are players there that could play, and they're not playing for whatever reason. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to change that at this point. You know, I think it's more a case of rotating between James or Rodrigo, depending on the style of attack that he wants to go for, and bringing Joffe and that on as a sub, which I'm not sure I agree with, but what can you do? Alison Marty, do you think we'll get any points next few games? I can only see 3. I had a look and decided that there were a maximum 4 points for us, being realistic, but that would be for the City game. As I say, if we play like that, I think there might be more for us, but if we do get more, it's going to be scraping points rather than scraping wins, I think. So we've just got to buckle up, haven't we, and hold on for ride at this point. It's not what we can do as fans. Michael Brown, can't stay in Premier League on the cheap. Yep, totally agree with them, mate. I think most of Leeds Twitter does, to be honest with you. Brendan's Ghost, draws with Chelsea and Arsenal, wins with Brighton and Brentford. If only, mate, if only. I would very happily take a point each against Arsenal and Chelsea, but we do have to finally put Brighton and Brentford to bed as bogey teams and shithouses. We need to put them to the bloody sword, mate, and get rid of them. I already brought that comment up, so don't worry about that. Problem's been selling our stars for shit money. Yeah, don't expect mega money if we get relegated, mate. We'll be selling a few players a bit cheaper than we would if we stayed up, I think. Brennan's Ghost again. Pray it doesn't go down the last day in London. Like to be more aggro than Bournemouth 90. Jesus Christ. So I wasn't there for that, thankfully, but let's hope not. If I tell you, if we get relegated, it's very likely that it won't be taken well by the travelling fans. I can only hope people behave because, I'm not going to condone tearing seats out and going crazy, but you know that people are going to be emotional, people are going to be upset, and they're going to be angry. And I tell you what, Rads is going to have to stay away for a bit if we get relegated, I think, because there's going to be some real vitriol for him. And I'd be worried about his safety at this point. Don't know what any of you guys think, but people are not happy with the lack of investment. People are not happy with trying to stay in the league on the cheap. People are not happy with the way Bielsa was dealt with and sacked. And then if we go down on top of all that, it's not going to go well for him, is it? He's going to get a lot of shit. But I guess that's part and parcel of owning a football club and comes with the territory. That's the price you got to pay if you don't put your hand in your pocket and invest in your team. Alison and Marty won more than me. Is that the 4 that I said? Not sure. Michael Brown, Brighton have only lost 5 away games all season, beating likes of Arsenal and Tottenham away, so a crucial game at home against them. Yeah, listen, if Everton are going out and beating Chelsea, then we have to believe we can beat Brighton. At this point in time, I don't think that records and things like that matter. We just got to put stuff like that out of his heads, not worry about it, just get out there and try and get those points, because this is a dire situation at this point. We are really in the shit. Alison, exactly. Do you think Rad's a lot to blame? No investment. Yeah, I'm going 3 forward. Be hopeful. The thing that worries me, and I've been hammered a bit for this in the pod chat, but when I was looking at the fixtures, this is before Everton played Chelsea. I could see potentially 9 points for them. I could see 9 points for Burnley. I've forgotten which games I was thinking of now, but there is potential for both of them there. And if they do that, we are really screwed. We're done. And we've just got to hope that that isn't the case. You've got to believe that neither of those teams can keep winning. But stranger things have happened. All rules and past experience and things all seem to go out the window when it's us that's involved. But yeah, I think I've probably rambled enough for a one-man show tonight. I hope it's been all right for you guys. It's hard to just sit here and go on and on. Even though some people say that's what I do most of the time, but we won't worry about that. But yeah, we'll be back for a proper main pod tomorrow night, and I think you lucky people get to see me again after that. So yeah, I'm going to call it a day there. It's been nice to have a little chat, and cheers for coming on and commenting, guys. It's not worth it without you guys. So remember to give us a like and a subscribe and all that jazz. And I will see you guys next time.